John didn't buy 20 Bitcoin for $20, but once he found Bitcoin again, oh baby, did he go hard and take us on a journey into your digital future. Here's John. Welcome to Sat Chats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. With Sat Chats, we are building the world's biggest Bitcoin welcome center to serve as your gateway to generational wealth. If you are new to Bitcoin, we want to chat about sats with you. Head to satchats.com to grab your slot in the studio today. I'm your host, Stuart, Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes.
And I'm your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, proud multi-coiner, and Bitcoin Smash buyer. Go to YouTube and smash the subscribe button, just like I smash buy Bitcoin, because if you do, you will be entered to win 1 million sats so long as you are one of our first 1,000 subscribers. If you're 1,001, that is not going to be any good for the giveaway, unfortunately. So get there now. Reserve your spot as one of our first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube so that you can have a chance to win 1 million sats that we're giving away here on Sat Chats. Also, when we reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we will be launching a live stream on Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is going to be amazing, just like today's show. What do we have here today, Stuart?
Oh, well, just real quick, let's imagine this. Hey, honey, did you win the 1 million sats? No. But were you part of the 999 plus one? I was subscriber number 1001. Don't be subscriber number 1001. Come on in here. Get the 1 million sats. So today in the studio, we have got Anna Bevan's longtime friend, John. So John is a Bitcoiner. He's got a Bitcoin story and some interesting future site type. Whoa. But before we jump into all that, John, help our Satillionaires get to know you a little bit.
Well, it's great to be here, guys. Thank you so much. There are a few things that I love talking about more than the fact that I was offered way back in 2011 that if I gave this fellow that was at college with me $20, he would give me 20 Bitcoin. And at the time, we were sitting around a table and he was trying to be, an evangelist. And I was really interested. I didn't know anything about it. And I was like, wow, if I had $20 for it. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll come back and think about it. And there was another guy across the table who told him that he was absolute lunatic, that Bitcoin was never going to work and it was never going to be anything. And I think it had gone up a little bit, here and there, et cetera. But it was still at the point where people were like, okay, kind of makes sense to see this. And he's like, here, just give me $1. I'll give you a little bit of it. And I was like, oh, okay. I walked away. I went to get lunch and I forgot. And that was the original first time that I was ever offered this. And I still go back to that day and I think, wow, all I needed to do was just go get a little bit of that, paper cash that you guys have in the back over there, that as we see now how much things have changed. But that was the first time that I was really introduced to the idea that this could be a future currency. And I still kick myself every day because I thought that still sounds like a pretty good deal in my book. But yeah, so that's my first story with Bitcoin.
And because we like pain on this show. So let's do the math real quick.
Okay.
Dude said, give me $20. I'll give you 20 Bitcoin.
Okay. So that was 2011 dollars. You would have been exchanging for 1.8 million 2025 dollars. And so, yeah, pain. I think so.
Dude, $2011 for 1.8 million 2025 dollars. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
That is incredible. So that was the first time you heard about Bitcoin.
Yep.
And there have only ever been, I think, 3 people on the show. And actually maybe now 4 if you count that one guy, but we'll say 3. I think there've been 3 people on the show. In fact, I mean, you're number 45.
Oh, wow.
So we've had 3 people on the show who got it the first time they saw it.
Yeah.
Every single other person on earth didn't get it the first time they saw it. So what was that moment when it came back into your life and you're like, well, wait, hang on, this is still here?
No, that's a great question. I think at the time I understood the technology around the new space of digital payments. I think even at the time, like PayPal and eBay, these were still ideas that people were starting to get associated with. Elon Musk was making the news at that point. I think he'd already exited PayPal at that time, but people were starting to see that there was a competition to, let's say, a general currency like US dollars and even a big corporate credit card, like Visa or MasterCard, right? So things were changing. So when I graduated from college in, I think it was 2011, 2012, I already knew that things were moving in a different direction. And I was always interested in that. I got a job in New York City in advertising, and we were even, doing original Google ads at the time, which was just like so unique because everybody was associated with print advertising or direct mail or kind of the older systems. So I was aware that things were changing. I think it really started to change for me. I had a friend, I went down to a couple of conferences in DC, and she had a lot of Bitcoin. She was part of a conservative political action network, more on very libertarian side. I started to learn a little bit more about that, and she was telling me about, Bitcoin and being a Bitcoin enthusiast, et cetera. And that's when I read the Bitcoin white paper, and it made sense to me. And I said, okay, actually, I kind of really understand peer-to-peer digital payments for security, accessibility, and transferability, right? And how that could be useful. Obviously, always at the time, it was going to come down to mass adoption and whether or not you could actually kind of see that wave turn. But I've done transactions in Bitcoin. I've seen the value of it. So after kind of we cleared out the Mt. Gox scenario, which, a lot of, Bitcoin was lost. There was a lot of scam and fraud around like custody of that. What I actually got interested in is I think I bought my first original BTC sometime in late 2014, early 2015. And I think the political climates at the time, everybody kind of remembers, that was the run up to Trump's first presidency, challenging existing norms. It was starting to become more of like, hey, what is this? What could this be? Right. So that's when I first got involved. And I was interested in the cryptocurrency space because I saw the value of, I didn't know if 100% what it was, but I felt like when you see something that's that new, maybe that's that light bulb idea, right? But like if you think about when Edison created the light bulb, I just wanted to be a part of it. I was like, something is happening here. There is a tidal shift. I need to understand more about this. And that's when I really started the journey of education. And I think that's something we'll talk about today. But to me, the most important thing that I think anyone can do in these types of scenarios is there's always going to be big names and a lot of guff and a lot of, bright lights and stuff like that. And people look at it as an investment currency, et cetera. But education is really the key. And it's really the value driver of why you should be involved in these conversations like you guys are doing, because eventually this will be part of the digital future.
So it sounds like after your first encounter with Bitcoin, and I bet that dude is the man, by the way. The dude who was offering to give you 20 Bitcoin for $20.
Yeah.
Guarantee he was sitting on, hundreds of Bitcoin? Thousands?
Probably tens of thousands. They were doing the mining, where mining at the time, you could produce hundreds of coins a week if you had the right systems. Right. And he was actually really interested in just adoption. So like, I think the price, if you think about it at the time, was probably, a deal of being low. He was just kind of betting everybody at the table, just saying, do it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was funny how almost nobody picked up him on that bet. But I actually do. I have a feeling that since I haven't really seen him on any social media, that he's
gone.
He's gone.
And good for him.
In the shadows. Yeah.
but that's great, right?
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
He's watching your episode from the top of his wizard tower in an undisclosed location that's monitored 24/7 by polar bears with armor on. Do you know what I mean? Like the
laser
dude's
beams on their heads.
they're totally he's like, oh, this is my guy John. Yeah, the little tweet about you should take it. Like, yeah, he's like living his life.
Yeah.
And good for him.
Yeah.
I think it's always great, right? Like I think
absolutely.
people who win and you know, I mean, hey, we could all, you know, made different decisions and things like that. But I think that's one of the things I was chatting with you guys about is, and something that I'm so passionate about is there is never, well, it's never not the right time or it's too late. You're never too late, right? Getting in and understanding this now, like I said, I mean, if the United States federal government and other international entities decide to use Bitcoin as a strategic reserve, which they seem to be that they're, you know, moving in that direction, which I think will happen regardless anyway, because it's just so proliferated at this point. And the timing of that may be unique, but it will happen. Well, your children are going to be born into a world where they're not going to know what a Bitcoin is, just like they don't know what a US dollar is, but they're going to find out. And eventually they're going to understand a credit card and they're going to understand the national payment system and Social Security and all those things. So why wouldn't you want to get involved now? Mm-hmm. Whether or not, you know, I think we take this away from this, you know, look, I love all the stuff. I have a couple of shirts with, you know, when Bitcoin moon and all that kind of stuff. It's fun, right? It's the meme culture. I love it.
Right.
But I think if we take ourselves out of just like saying, hey, we think we're just going to 10x everything and we're going to, you know, turn, you know, this into gold and it's going to be a 10x investment. Sure, those are still going to be out there. Just like, you know, you had the tech, you know, boom and bust, but you had companies, again, like a PayPal that came out of nowhere and people made a lot of money on that. People made a lot of money on Disney stock in the 90s if they sold in the mid 2000s, right? Mm-hmm. So there's always going to be ways to invest your money more wisely. So taking that aside and saying, I'm just going to get into Bitcoin or I'm not because I don't think I can make that same investment now. I think we take, again, that same track of it's never too late to get involved. Understand how that becomes part of your, if you want it to become part of your portfolio, great. You know, we're going to chat about some things today where it could be useful and create utility in your life if you value things like privacy, security, if you want to get out of the natural track of, you know, payments, et cetera. Yeah, I'm totally advocated for, you know, peer-to-peer BTC payments if that helps you run your business more efficiently or it works for you. Now, those are the things that you need to get educated on and how that will impact you and the future. And I'm fully confident of this. I can say this, it will happen. It is happening. I think we've now turned, you know, the tide, like I said, or opened the door where this is just going to become part of life.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say two things really quick. The best time to buy Bitcoin was, 14 years ago? Second best time?
Today.
Right now.
Right now. Dude.
Right now.
Yeah. Right now.
And also, my daughter, who's 2, her first word was Bitcoin.
That's a little concerned.
Whoa, Bitcoin! And she was doing that like Bitcoin, like you're ready to get you your Bitcoin, babe. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah.
But it's such a great point, right? Like people create a college fund for their kids when they're born. I mean, I remember this is probably going to take people back, but I remember that my parents and grandparents had got like 20-year maturity treasury notes that you could buy for your kids. I don't remember the specific name of them, but they matured in a certain amount of time so that people did this. They bought that for their kids so that when there was, let's say they wanted to go to college or they couldn't access that treasury note until they were like 18 or 19, it was creating a nest egg for them. Mm-hmm. Why not? Like the Bitcoin price is going to keep going up. I mean, it's not going to not do that just because of the scarcity. Now, I'm sure you guys have gone into this on the podcast and we don't have to go into the economics of it. I do recommend to everybody that if you've got 30 to 40 minutes, read the Bitcoin white paper. It is still one of the most succinct and inspirational, I would say, collection of ideas in a simple form and matter to understand how money works. So take it in a sense of like, this is not just about Bitcoin. How do we interact as people, right? And so if you've got time, you should do that. That's what opens up a lot of things for people. And if you've got questions about that, that's why we're here, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Reading the white paper, I was like, wow. Wow.
Yep.
You know, Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially around the secure
Yes.
aspects of Bitcoin, where the effort required to compromise Bitcoin is like Herculean.
Oh yeah.
Anybody who were to attack it would immediately destroy its value anyway, so it's not worth attacking.
Mm-hmm.
And effectively, just the more nodes that come around it, it's kind of like just like layers and layers of computer protection around it. And some of the security aspects of Bitcoin itself, some of the security of the transactions where I'm signing my transaction with my keys, and you're getting it, and like I was like, man, this is incredible. So I like that you're recommending to our Satillionaires to read the white paper, because as Bitcoin beginners, that might feel overwhelming, like a white paper. I need to go find it. He's talking about public-private keys, talking about hashing. But ultimately, it's like 8 or 9 pages of beautifully plain English about what Satoshi has created, how it works, and what that might mean for us. So I love that recommendation. When you were up in DC in 2014, 2015, you saw that the world of payments and therefore the world of money was changing, and some absolute Chad lady with lots of Bitcoin as a libertarian was like, let me help orange pill you a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Is what I'm understanding.
Yes.
I absolutely love that. And just like quick shout out to all the unsung heroes who are orange pilling people privately, one-on-one.
Oh yeah.
We're trying to do the same thing, but just have a camera watching us at the same time.
Yeah.
But the people who are doing that selflessly to just, try to get more people, because as soon as you realize the value of Bitcoin, it becomes a tragedy to see your friends and family operating through a money that is disintegrating.
Oh yes.
As they are attempting to earn it. And it breaks your heart. You're like, you've got to come over here where it's safe. You need to protect yourself. You need to get a foothold so that you don't have to go down into the fiat mines every single day and just pickaxe away with a grungy face. So once you found it again, realized it was worth something, and that it kind of tied into this greater world of digital payments, digital transactions, and ultimately a digital future. You kind of, I guess, how did you go about getting your Bitcoin, right? Like we talk about a couple of different strategies. This guy smashes, I dollar cost average. Number 44, Evan, he likes to dry powder his way through the dips. What was your how did you get into it? How did you get going?
So again, a great question. I think this will really be helpful if there's a part of the episode that folks are interested in how to get access to the system of where Bitcoin lives, right? There's a lot of different ways to do it. So I actually had a very traditional route in. So I had done some investing stuff with my dad. I remember us even, just table on a Sunday or Saturday afternoon where we used to take the Wall Street Journal, take a look at different stocks, and we would all do types of different investing things. Maybe we use, one of the TD Ameritrade or one of those like trading and brokerage accounts where we were trying to, we were always trying to figure this out of this investing world. So I had an understanding and background in the investing space, and understanding, if you see something, how do you take advantage of that? And like you said, be a part of it and maybe create a little bit of that portfolio. So at the time, I think there were two main ways that you could buy Bitcoin. I wasn't one of the people that tried to do all of the like private keys, et cetera. At the time, I was like, I'm going to take a little bit more conservative route. And I think I bought my first Bitcoin on Coinbase, truth be told. Which you can still buy today. Some of the things that, like we said, talk about what I do and what I help people with is actually understanding where they want to buy. So if you do want to buy on Coinbase, I don't have any, challenges with Coinbase. I think there's pros and cons to different exchanges of where you can buy Bitcoin. But you've got other exchanges like Kraken or Gemini. And then I had bought some as well on Binance. I did a lot of investing on Binance. And so I started to get involved in, this was probably 2018, 2019, the world of how there's digital utility behind actual infrastructure that is either built or based on the Bitcoin network. Because I think one thing that's interesting, I do want to take a sidestep here. I don't think people understand fully that Bitcoins are simply a reward that is given to someone or a computer system that has solved a cryptographic transaction on one of the blocks of the 21 million of the actual network. So you're given that reward. Those coins are given as a reward for doing that basically systemographic, I don't know what you would call it. Like you're verifying you're doing work. You're verifying that the network is secure, the network has accessibility, etc. And that's proven through the digital transactions that run at a certain rate. So all cryptocurrencies are actual reward-based systems for cryptographic networks, which just means they have a high level of security. It's usually above 128 bits, depending on whatever it is. Some are, various ones have different levels. And the way that they actually promote usage is through being able to do something well, right? So we've talked about Bitcoin a lot, and that's where people really hear it because it's the one that's had the most growth in the price, and people think it's a speculative asset. Some people think it could be a security. It doesn't really matter. It's what can the network actually do to solve for a challenge, right? Like the three properties of money, right? Easily divisible, easily transferable, inherently valuable, right? But paper dollars, they have some of that, but not all. They're actually just a marker for the trust that somebody has that you have a certain amount of money in your bank account, and it creates transferability. So really what it is trust, right? And the reason I go into that is because all blockchains are strings of I would say trusted or encrypted nodes that you can store information in, right? Like IBM was working on this in the late 1970s. Their blockchain systems have been around for a long time. I like people to think about it this way. It's like a big extra storage unit space. Like if you ever owned a storage unit, your key that you have for that storage unit, when you go inside or open the door, that's your block. They're all part of a blockchain or a community of different blocks. One's on top of yours, one's on the bottom of yours, whatever it is, but you put something valuable inside that. And you can do the same thing with the Bitcoin network. People don't realize you can upload files to a Bitcoin block on the network. And when you want to re-access that information, only you have the key or the 64 or 128, character key to get that information out. I've actually done this. We've put, some of our stuff that we've done in the intellectual property space, in the gaming space, we will store intellectual property records on the Bitcoin blockchain. Cool. Now I can access it, I can upload it, and it's not stored with the United States federal government. If we have patents or IP, sure, we have it there, but plans or, drawings, let's say for some of the NFT gaming stuff we were doing, we now can actually still store it there, and it gives you a time, date, and place of when you put it up, and you're the only one that can access it. So that's really what the network is. And I've always tried to help people understand that, because I was even talking to a close friend, and they've been an investor in Bitcoin, and they never understood that that's what it was. It's simply a network of blocks that are connected that verify each other. And if you want to actually put information in one of those blocks, you can access a part of that block. That's why SATs are so important, because it makes them easily divisible. And you can actually load that information just like you're loading onto a computer hard drive. And I think that's really important for people to understand, because you're not just talking about money or currency. You're talking about digital utility in a future world that we're going to use all this. So I say all that to say, but it's about storage, utility, processing power, etc. That's where we'll start to help everyone change their idea of why there's actually value here. Because yes, in the future, the 21 million Bitcoin that can only be created, they're not actually coins. They're 21 million. I don't know, like you could think about them as storage, real estate properties, right? And there's only that number of them. So if you want access to one of those, property blocks and have a key to unlock that, that's inherently very valuable. It's like owning a hotel, right? You're the only one that owns the doors in that hotel if you're the hotel owner. Okay. It's like getting into the real estate business, if that's what you wanted to think about it as, right? And the reason why Bitcoin's price has gone up is because of the scarcity. It's like, okay, well, what if the Wynn Hotel Group only owned 21 million hotels, around the world, and you wanted to buy one of their hotels? Well, they're gonna charge you quite a bit of money for that specific hotel on that space, right? But if you want to rent a room from the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas, well, the price is a little bit lower, but you basically do the same thing and you put yourself in that room. So you're secure. Why? Because you close the door and you lock it. You have a key to that room and they're reusable, and it's all the same conceptualization as real estate. When I've shared that with people, it starts to actually click and be like, oh, wait a minute. It's just digital real estate. And all of the cryptocurrencies out there have different utility. So going back to your question of kind of like how I came back to it and what I started to realize and what I wanted to, talk about, and I'll show here today, is it's very important to understand the utility of what we're really, really talking about. And I try to use really common language words and help people understand this, because Bitcoin can be used for a very specific set of things or actions. Maybe, and I'm not promoting any tokens or anything like that. I always tell people a disclaimer on, financial advice. I'm not doing that. But again, like I said, understand that utility. And that's where I get so passionate about it, is because, again, this is going to happen. It's here. If you're more educated and you understand this, being a part of it, and even if you want to go out and buy $10 of Bitcoin today, just to say you're an owner, great. I think the best thing you can do is you can educate yourself on why it makes sense and works for you. You want to look at it as an investment asset? Fantastic. You said that you smash and you do dollar cost average. Those are investing techniques that work for any investment. You could buy the NASDAQ that way if you want, right? I look at it as, when I'm seeing things from a utility perspective, I look at it as like owning a stock, right? So if I wanted to own, Boeing or Raytheon or one of these stocks, I would see it the same way. Is there utility for what they do? Are they a cutting edge, a company producing something really unique? And then how does that make sense for me in my financial future or for business future? Because that's something we talk about a lot, is, how does something like this phone that we'll chat about impact your business future, from the perspective of how do you become part of it, and then how does it relevantly change your current way of life?
So let's unpack that a little bit, John. After you said no to Bitcoin the first time, and then you came back to it and was like, yes, here we go. This is something good. Eventually you picked your head up and started extrapolating Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and NFTs into this digital future.
Yes.
And, that includes educating beginners on different options for how to approach this whole world. It includes some pretty, at least for me, and probably number 33 Jameson, cool, privacy forward, real world utility for this space that is so not private.
Yep.
Help us understand what you see when you think about this digital future. What does that include? And and wrapping in this device that you brought as well, like kind of take us on that whole journey.
No, that's fantastic. I would say we're always looking to solve the two challenges of security and privacy when it comes to your human action, right? I'm a big believer in the fact that if you want to live a very private life and you do no harm to anyone during that, that life you live, then really you shouldn't be infringed upon, and your rights shouldn't be infringed upon by an outside government or any other force or anyone really, And so one of the things that I was, thinking through was, is there a way for us to more securely communicate that we just don't want our text messages read by somebody else. Primarily what we're talking about is we just want the regular person to feel secure and private in their communications, right? People shouldn't be, there's no big brother, there's no snooping, right? We don't want that. It's just not the role that our government or people on the outside should have. So I have a number of really good friends down in Austin, Texas. So friends of mine and I have been working on a system with a cell phone. This is a Google, I think it's a Google 7, Pixel 7, where we can install a base level operating system. It's called, we can go into it. It's called Graphene OS. And because of this device, everything down to the hardware specifically for this device is completely secure. So if you use Signal or you use one of these, secure digital peer-to-peer communication applications on my other phone here, the regular Apple device, theoretically, if somebody wanted to go in and do keystroke, visibility, or wanted to set a listening device in here somehow, it's still never going to be secure because this is a centrally owned, centrally produced, unified operating system and network that Apple creates. And that's okay. If you choose to use, I choose to use that as my secondary work device. That's awesome. That's fantastic, right? I'm not going to force my team to go onto this specific phone that we've designed and developed because that's okay. That's not their choice, right? It's not my choice for my advertising agency. But if you want to get to that other side, and for you value privacy and security at a little higher level, whether it's you just want to be able to talk with one of your business partners about very secure information from your business about your board's activities, and you don't want somebody to read it on the outside, fantastic. You should have the right to be able to do that. We found that this device that we have produced here, based on the fact that it also uses a BTC eSIM, if you want to communicate directly over the Bitcoin network for an actual phone conversation, there's no trackability because you're logging in with a highly secure eSIM that has a specific character unit that only you are gaining access to, and you're communicating with another eSIM on a completely off-grid device. I'm not aware, and again, I say with 99.9% accuracy, I'm not aware of any way to access this system unless you communicate through this device to another device over a system that is not secure.
To break this down for our satillionaires, you can take, you and your friends in Texas can take a Google Pixel 6 or Google Pixel 7. Mm-hmm. You can strip away its operating system, right? Mm-hmm. Or you can de-Google that phone, which is not easy, by the way, because Google's everywhere in that thing. You can strip that Pixel 6 or Pixel 7 down to its hardware. Then you'll install Graphene OS on top, which is an open source variant for Android phones. Well known in the privacy and cybersecurity community. I think in today's terms, a Google Pixel running Graphene OS puts you light years ahead of your everyday iPhone, your everyday Samsung, and quite frankly, your everyday Google Pixel, right? And my copy of Extreme Privacy by Michael Bazzell recommends that as their top tier choice. Now, where you are going that others have not is this idea of an eSIM, right? Which for our satillionaires, electronic SIM card. Your SIM card is that little thing that effectively connects you to the cell network and lets your phone be a phone. These days, we've moved beyond having those little things where you're like trying to, and I dropped it and wait, let me got to pick it up like a dime or something. We've moved into a world of electronic SIM cards where it's kind of more tied to your phone through software or maybe firmware or some combination thereof. But you're saying that your eSIM is powered by Bitcoin?
Yes.
What is that? Huh?
Yeah, it's so you purchase the eSIM with Bitcoin, and that's tracked to your wallet. and then installed on your phone. And just like getting prepaid wireless, you get a certain amount of time that Bitcoin and that eSIM is connected to. So you're online. And so I think when we talk about like, yeah, you would need to buy that with Bitcoin. So when I say to people, why is it important to maybe get into this game and understand it? Don't think about it from an investment perspective. Just think about it from like, hey, if you want this level of privacy and security and you want to achieve this, well, it might be $30 for 30 days, and it's the same, you spend $30 a month on your wireless right now, doesn't really matter. You just have a much more highly secure, connected, peer-to-peer communication device. Oh, that's called a telephone, by the way. And that it just now allows you to have that same conversation with a much higher level of privacy. And this phone specifically as well, if you want to connect to wireless networks, there's no cost to that. And I think as things move towards this new digital future, as you've mentioned, that's what I want to help with, is helping people understand you actually could do this if you want to. I can help you get onto this network. I can give you the recommendations. We can do educational classes. Because it's like learning a new type of phone.
So how can our satillionaires look for this phone? Because it's effectively almost like a secure phone as a service, where it's not necessarily that you all are manufacturing the phone,
right,
or the operating system. You basically have a methodology for producing an experience. Do you all have a name for that? Is there a company name associated with it, a website? Where can they go?
Yeah.
What should they do?
Great question. So we are going to be launching a website with a purchase product link for this phone. For now, you can go to my advertising agency website, www.agency/digital-future.
Okay.
And then you can just go ahead and you can do I encourage everybody to do the 30-minute, just consultation. So it's www.theomega.agency/digital-future.
Okay. So let's recap that conversation, because we covered a lot of ground there with John. Yeah. Offered 20 Bitcoin for $20.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Listen, man, you're in glad company, because number 31 Victor received a Bitcoin for free from the founder of Coinbase, and he was like, "What is this? Send it back." It's one thing to say no to the option. It's another to get it and then send it back.
Yeah.
So we've all done it. It happens to all of us. We all said no the first time. A couple of years later, that was 2011, into the 2014, 2015 space. An absolute Chad lady at CPAC up in, I guess it was DC, right? Yeah. Libertarian style, lots of Bitcoin, helped you see what you hadn't been able to see before. And that propelled you. I guess it was married to this foundational shift in digital payments and transactions. That was kind of the PayPals, the eBays, all that was starting to kind of ride on top of the traditional financial network. And you had some background there with your dad as well, hitting up the newspaper on the weekends, looking for trades. So it was kind of all gelling for you at that time. But maybe one of those catalysts was your interaction with that lady who helped you see, right?
Yeah, I started to really understand it.
So from there, you continued your journey, and you went from Bitcoin, and you also started to understand the world of cryptocurrency, started to understand the world of NFT, and ultimately extrapolated out into this digital future where, listen, no matter what you think about this, it is happening. It's going to happen. And it's a very interesting perspective, by the way. We are like dead set on helping our satillionaires move from a dollar lens through which they see Bitcoin to a Bitcoin lens through which they see Bitcoin. And we've moved away from talking about the price of Bitcoin, and we've started talking about the exchange rate of Bitcoin, because we want to lock in the fact that this is money and this is money, and you need to trade in this money that's no good for this money that's really good. You're almost even I don't know if you'd be considered beyond that or off to the side of it or on the top, or I don't know where you are, but you're somewhere where you're actually already starting to think about Bitcoin's utility value in a more blockchain driven space where it's not necessarily about the monetary utility of Bitcoin, but just this great big digital spreadsheet in the sky where you could send messages, you could store information, you could tie more private secure services to it. I mean, it's a pretty wild space to think about. And, I'm going to have to challenge myself and my satillionaires to try to get a grasp on that. And if you need some help getting a grasp on that, John is available.
Absolutely.
And you can go to theomega.agency/digital-future in order to just grab 30 minutes of John's time and talk more about what you're trying to get done, where you want to go, and whether or not you want one of these, peer-to-peer contraptions that are commonly called telephones, is what I understand. So we do ask each of our guests to come back on in 9 months to give us an update on their Bitcoin baby. We would love for you to come back on, talk to us about the launch of this more secure product that you're creating, give us an update on all the things that have been going down. Would you be willing to do that for us?
Absolutely.
Holler at your boy.
Yeah.
So let's make John an offer, but we don't like for any of our guests to have to make what is a very important decision on an empty stomach. Can you remember which flavor of Ithaca hummus you chose for today?
I think it was the jalapeno lime?
That's correct.
It was the jalapeno lime, a perennial favorite among our guests. And I would love for one of our satillionaires to go through and tell us what the flavor breakdown is among our now 45 guests. Which flavor appears the most?
Yeah.
If you can jump into the comments and tell me which flavor appears the most, we will do a YouTube short just for you.
Go ahead and stack rank them for me because I'm a big, I'm an Excel guy. So
give us all of it. Give us every flavor and the number of times it's appeared.
Yeah.
Now, we've also got a little something here. What is it?
Okay, so these are Crunch Master multi-grain crackers. This is the sea salt flavor. Mm-hmm. And so for all you satillionaires out there who don't agree with gluten or gluten doesn't agree with you, this is a great, crunchy, seed-based, gluten-free cracker.
Okay.
That I and my entire family really enjoy with Ithaca hummus. So let's take a dip here. We've got the jalapeno lime and a gluten-free Crunch Master.
So let's get some gluten, and we'll all chop. Oh yeah, he went for it.
That's fine.
Ah yeah,
that'll
I like
be used distributor later. So bookmark that.
The second one. Yeah. I'm still waiting for y'all to find the first guy that just ripped. So now John will be the second one. All right, gluten-free flat gob. Here we go. Feel free to grab another one if you like.
That's good. And I am gluten-free, by the way, and this is fantastic.
Wow. Pairs beautifully.
That's good.
Awesome.
I love that crunchy rice cracker with the seeds in there. You get a little hit from the toasted sesame. Really nice. And then the hummus obviously kicks in and you just
that's amazing.
Go on a total flavor ride.
Oh, yeah.
These gluten-free crackers are tasty. And of course, we've tasted jalapeno lime a lot. It's kind of helped me come at it from a different angle.
Yeah.
It's like melding with the jalapeno lime in a new way that you don't get with some woven wheat, for example. And I kind of like how it's all jiving together.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little lighter texture too,
Yeah.
What was your take on that hummus cracker combo and flavor?
So I think one of the things I noticed about the crackers is sometimes gluten-free will have a little bit of it'll have a little bit of a back taste, a little bit of a chalkiness, right? And I've been gluten-free for almost 20 years now. It's over that. I was an early adopter in that space just because we were trying to figure out what, I needed to change my gut health. That was a long time ago. Good story there. These, they're really good. And they don't have that kind of almost like I said, kind of a back taste or chalkiness, or they're going to stick to your teeth with too much glue.
Yeah.
Now, going to the hummus itself, I would say there's actually a very light creaminess to that it's not that heavy But sometimes hummus is a little bit too heavy.
Yes.
That's really, I mean, the combination there of the kind of the soft and the hard was excellent.
Crunchmaster, multi-grain for multi-coiners.
Oh, wow.
And don't forget, Ithaca hummus. Buy the dip.
Wow, we selling stuff on this podcast.
This stuff is yours, my friend. Let's make John his offer.
All right, John.
Okay.
So we like to offer all of our guests value for value. We offer this small token of our appreciation for your time and knowledge today, and we give everyone the choice between $50 US or $50 in Bitcoin, which I've got the Clark Moody Bitcoin dashboard pulled up here.
Yep.
The exchange rate of one Bitcoin right now is $88,350, which translates to 1,132 sats per dollar. So I'm going to just 1132 times 50. Got to remember, it's 56,600 sats. No small amount. I mean, that's
yeah.
Or this.
Oh, I'm going to take it.
Oh,
yes, sir.
All right.
Let's go, John.
Absolutely.
Come on, baby.
High
Stacks
fives
them.
all the way around here.
Absolutely.
Is this part of the digital future? No.
No.
That's part of the digital future. Let's go. My guy stacked the sats.
Yeah.
Brought our scoreboard to 41 guests who have chosen Bitcoin and four that
lonely
chose.
Okay. I love it.
Thanks again for coming on the show, John. It's theomega.agency/digital-future to contact him, talk about everything he can offer you. This is the part of the show where we ask you to give us your value for our value. We value YouTube subscriptions the most currently at this time, and we are willing to drop 1 million sats on your head in exchange for your subscription, so long as you are part of the first 999 plus one to do so. So get in now while the getting's good, and we will select one of you at random to drop 1 million sats on your head. We'll also take your like while you're here. Hit that bell, subscribe, do the notification, 5 stars on Spotify, what?
Chat to us, comment,
Do it all. Yeah,
Yes,
leave us your comments. We like those too.
subscribe.
But
We
geez,
need those subscribers.
Don't be subscriber number 1001. Oh,
Do it now.
oh my goodness. And remember, Sat Chats is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. Real quick, we'll also unlock a live show 10 a.m. Eastern Friday mornings for you when we hit that 999 plus one. And our guests' views are their own. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the next one, Satillionaires. Bye-bye.